everyday thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say YouTube TV. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. So Much to Say YouTube TV is the place that you come to learn and grow, because we discuss socially relevant things mixed with a splash of humor. If you know you have tissue paper feelings, this probably isn't the channel for you. But and however, since you're here, I just need for you to do two things. Hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and turn on that little bell so that you get the notification every single time that I go live or upload something new. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Hey girl, hey. Hey girl, hey. Hey niece. Thank you, Philip, for the super chat. Hey girl, hey. What's up, Lois Bailey? Lois. Why just make up a last name for you? Lois Betty. Hey, Linda Hudson. Hey, Audrey. Tanaka, Carla James. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is the Facebook and YouTube live versions of So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. It feels really good to be back. It feels really, really good to be back. I feel your prayers. I absolutely feel your prayers. They've absolutely been working. I've read your messages, those encouraging emails that you sent, not those messages from that last live, niece. I heard y'all were talking shit in here. I didn't read those. Remember the messages weren't coming through that day. See how God works, amen? But I got your encouraging emails because those of you who are subscribed or following my social media, you know what happened with my mom and all that good stuff. So I have been just inundated this past week, which is why I haven't been live. I've been inundated with trying to get in-home care services and other medical equipment, like a shower bench, that kind of thing, right? So she starts physical therapy on Monday to build her strength up. And I am going to go ahead and order that high-seated toilet. Remember that toilet that she wanted? And I was just like, I don't want no high-seated. I don't want to change my toilet. One niece, I'm going to go ahead and get the toilet. I got to order the toilet. But so I just wanted to give you that quick update because I did update you guys on Patreon. But what I wanted to talk about on here is something completely different. I'm on my way to meet my friend Georgiana and Chef Jack. Georgiana is taking us to lunch, and I needed to get away, so she said, listen, let me take you to lunch. And so that's where I'm on my way now. So in the meantime, I wanted to come on here and I wanted to say a couple things to you guys because I've learned a lot in this past week. And when I say I've learned a lot, I mean in the way of caring for an elderly parent or being a care provider, period. And because I got a lot of your messages, I got all of the messages where you all were saying that you were care provider to your parent or to an uncle or to somebody. And so you've given me so many resources. I know that Medicare will pay for a lot of this equipment. I know that the doctor will write up an order for a lot of this equipment, personal hair, in-home care person, as well as adult daycare. And so eventually, all of this stuff that I'm learning, I'm going to do a live and talk about it because I know a lot of you watch my videos and you get information from these videos. And some of the stuff you may not know. So I want to, and I believe strongly that the things that we all go through individually, it's not just for us. It's also for the people that we share it with in your circle, in your tribe. And you guys are a part of my circle. It's an extended circle, but I want to share with you guys all of the stuff that I've learned because if you're going through it now and you need to resources, or you may be going through it in the future. But here's the thing. Jesus rose in 3 days, niece, and I got to rise in 3 days. This week has been so tough for me, but I've been processing it. I've been patient with the pain. I've asked God, what is it that you would have me learn from this? What is it I'm supposed to learn from this? And I really do believe that something is going to come out of this. I don't know if it's going to be some sort of a project that I'll produce, something that I'll end up writing about this whole experience. I don't know. But I know my juices are flowing, my creative juices. And so I'm going to end up using this. I'm going to turn this pain into purpose, is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to turn this pain into power, and then I'm going to turn it into purpose and share it with you all. But here's what I want to say to you, because we're not going to just talk about that. I want some good stuff now. So here's the thing. There's something to be said about being sweet and kind to people. I say this to you guys all the time, especially those of you that work in public service. When I say public service, I mean you may work at a hospital, you may work at Department of Family, Children, and Services, you know, wherever. You may be dealing with the general public when the public needs help or assistance. Shit, you might be at the power company, the electric company. But it's something to be said about being friendly and being kind to people. Because I have talked to some people through different organizations, you know, Department of Aging and all of these other organizations in this past week. And there are some women that I've talked to that are so resourceful and they're so kind. And I know that job can be filled with little reward. And I know it can be mundane because you're telling the same information over and over and over, but you're talking to different families. And it is important to be upbeat and friendly and kind because every family is different. And I've never talked to these people before. So if you've spoken to 10 families before me, I still need that positive energy from you. I still need I need your best energy, your best effort. And this one particular lady, a couple of the ladies that I spoke to, they're very, very good. They've been very empathetic. They've been like, oh, and one other thing, you can try this and think of this. And, you know, so I wanted to say that first. So I want to encourage you guys to continue to be decent and kind people, especially when people are going through things with their family and they're stressed out. And even if they come at you a little bit aggressive, just think about the position that they're in, because it has nothing to do with you. It's not you, it's the situation. And so take yourself out of it. Take your ego out of it, right? But there's something to be said that's really kind. I dropped off, my mother called me yesterday because I can't go to the hospital now. For those of you who are not on Patreon or whatever, or didn't read my post, she found out she had COVID and she does have the vaccine. I've tested negative twice this week. I tested that day when I made that post and I tested again yesterday. I've still been negative. I'm still negative. But so she could have gotten it transporting back and forth to dialysis. She could have gotten it at dialysis. I don't know. That's irrelevant to me at this point. But that day, they told me I had to leave the hospital. So I haven't been to the hospital. I've been in her room. I haven't seen her since, what's today, Saturday? I haven't seen her since, I think, Wednesday. My days are running together, niece. I think Wednesday. Meanwhile, all this is happening, I am still working on Gay Like Me behind the scenes. We're going to start dropping those episodes that Derek J and I filmed on January 17th. Is that Martin Luther King's birthday, that Monday? It's going to be on the Gay Like Me YouTube channel. That's the only place it's going to be. But at any rate, so I haven't seen my mother since Wednesday. So she called me yesterday and said, hey, can you make me a tuna sandwich and bring me some undergarments and a couple shirts? And so I took all of that stuff that she asked for, but then I also packed a few other things. She had some cookies and some potato chips stashed away in the closet in her bedroom. So I packed a few of them. I took that over there. And there's a young woman at the hospital who has been so kind. And I'm going to tell you, the first day that my mother called me, she wanted me to bring her a heated blanket. I had gotten her a heated blanket to take to dialysis, you know, because she stays cold and it's sometimes cold in the dialysis clinic. Girl, you better hit them brakes back there because I don't need no other issues right now. I don't need to be rear-ended. So my mother asked me to bring her the heated blanket. That was the first thing. So I had called the nurses station and asked them if it was possible for me to bring the heated blanket, because that could be a fire hazard. You know, that could be a faulty cord. You know what I mean? You've been burned down the entire damn hospital because you cold. So I called and they said, yeah, you can bring it. And so this young lady answered the phone, a young black girl. She answered the phone and she said, yeah, just call me when you get downstairs because my mom has COVID. I can't go to the room. So the girl said to me, she said, well, just call when you get downstairs and I'll come downstairs and get it from you and I'll take it up to her. And so she did that. And so when Carlton and I got downstairs, she was downstairs and I gave her the bag and I thanked her. So then yesterday when my mother called and was like, hey, I want a tuna sandwich, you know, and all this other stuff. So I was praying that I could get this girl on the phone again. But I knew her name, but I didn't ask for her. So when I pulled up to the hospital yesterday, she happened to be downstairs again. And I kept looking and shit. And I was like, is that Chantel? Her name is Chantel. I was like, is that Chantel right there? But I couldn't see it. So I pulled around. And you know, you can't get out of the car at the hospital, right? You can't just leave your car. And so I pulled around. And so I said to the guy at the parking, I said, hey, can I just run upstairs real quick and drop off this food and stuff I drop off this bag to my mom. He said, yeah, you just leave the car right here and run up. He said, just give me the keys. And so when I got out of the car, Chantel was standing right there. And I said, Chantel. She said, hey. I said, what you doing down here? She said, I came to pick up something from somebody else. I was going to take it up. I said, well, do you mind taking this bag up to my mother? She said, no, I don't mind. I said, do you remember who it is? She said, I don't remember your name. She said, but I remember the patient. I said, yeah, it's Gladys. She said, okay, yeah, I'll take it up for you. And I said, I really appreciate it. She said, no problem. I don't mind doing it. I said, girl, I need to do something nice for you. I said, I don't know if you want to give me your number or if you want to just give me your email. I said, but I would like to do something nice for you. And she was just, oh, you don't have to do that. I said, I know. I said, but I really appreciate it. And so she said, well, yeah. So she gave me her phone number. And so I sent her a text. I said, hey, this is Craig. And so then today, I sent her a little Apple Pay. I texted her and I said, hey, do you have Apple Pay? And she said, I sure do. And so I sent her a little Apple Pay. I said, just to get a little lunch. And she said, oh, thank you so much. She said, I so appreciate you. I said, no, I appreciate you. But I say all of that to say, it is important to be kind to people because you never know when you're going to need somebody. And that's not the reason to be kind to people. But you guys know that I believe in energy. And the energy that you put out, it always comes back, good, bad, or indifferent. So if you put bad energy out, that's what's going to come back to you. It may not come back from the person that you gave it to, but it is going to come back. And so I wanted to share that with you. But let me go back to the first day that I went over to the ER. Let me talk about that. I got about 6 minutes before I got to get out of the car, but I'm going to tell you this story real quick, okay? So the day that my mother was going to the ER, the transportation company called me. Now, let me go back. Let me take a couple steps back. I'm a detailed storyteller. I got to give you every detail. So the night before, I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't sleep. And Carlton and I were up late watching TV and shit and talking and, just processing this whole thing. And so next thing I know, it was like 4 a.m. So I was like, well, ain't no point in me going to sleep now because my mother has to get up at 5, even though I bought her an alarm clock so she could get up, set her own clock and get up. But something just said she's probably going to need help getting up, waking up and whatever. So I just happened to be up at 5 a.m. And sure enough, I did not hear her moving around. And when I didn't hear her moving around in there, I went and knocked on the door and she was still in there knocked out, calling hogs, right? Calling hogs. And so she was like, I said, Ma, she said, huh? I said, you got to get up. I said, it's time for dialysis. She said, oh. So I got up, I helped her get dressed and stuff like that. Because again, I didn't realize this at the time, but it was obviously COVID that was making her so weak. And I'm also deducing that the reason that she fell out of the car was because of COVID. She didn't have the strength. You understand? Like she was kind of out of it. So anyway, I put on her socks, I put on her pants, I put on her shoes, helped her put her shirt on, had the shirt on backwards, knees. Honey, the shirt was backwards. And I said, oh my, the shirt on backwards. I said, hold on. She said, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I said, oh, well, I ain't gonna have you going out here, look, have you leave the house looking like, don't like care about you. I said, hold on. So I took the sleeves back off her arms. And you know how with little kids, the shirt is around their neck. So I just turned it around and that's okay. So then I put the shirt on. So anyway, they sent her to dialysis. So shortly after she left, so this is like 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, I went on and fell asleep. But she's usually done by dialysis and back home by 9:30. So about 9:00 a.m., I woke up. So I was only asleep about 3 hours or so. And so I woke up because I just kind of felt, how your instincts kind of tell you. I kind of woke up and I was like, I feel like they're going to call me, or they've already called me. So I woke up and I looked right at my phone. They hadn't called. So I'm looking at the last episode of The Gay Like Me. I told you we had it edited. So I'm looking at the last episode. I'm probably like 7-10 minutes into the episode. And the transportation company called me. And they were like, hi, is this Miss Stewart's son? I said, yes, because they've never called me. I'm like, girl, what y'all want? Like, what's go? I'm like, yes. She said, yeah, the dialysis clinic is going to call you because they're recommended that she goes to the ER because she's not as alert as she normally is. I said, okay. So she's like, so we're on our way. I said, girl, where you at? Just tell me where you are. She said, we're about 7 minutes from your house. Baby, by the time they got to my house, I had jumped up, brushed my teeth, threw on some clothes, and I was sitting in the car with the car running. Not in the driveway. I was already on the street. So when they came around the corner, I was ready. So they helped me get her in the car. So I drove to the hospital. And, I was talking to her the whole way, just making sure she was staying alert. But she was kind of dozing off because it was early in the morning. It was like 9:30 at this point. But remember, she had been up since 5. So I was just talking to her the whole way, but not trying to talk to her too much to annoy her, because, when you sleepy and you left dialysis, you ain't trying to do all that talking. So I'm talking to her to make sure she's alert. And so I get to the hospital. And first of all, I was trying to figure out which hospital should I go to. I'm trying to figure out which one would be the most efficient, which one would be give the best care, all of that stuff, right? So I ended up going to this particular hospital. I'm not going to say the name because I don't need y'all calling over there weighing them people out because I'm about to tell you the story. So anyway, I get over to the hospital at the ER. Now, this is at the ER. Now, when you pull up to the ER, I'm expecting you to be able to pull up, jump out, run in there, ask for help. They run out there with a wheelchair. You know how like you see on ER and Grey's Anatomy? Girl, I pull up to this hospital and they got a motherfucking valet. I'm like, where are the emergency vehicles and stuff? Like a valet. There's a line from the door, a line of cars from the door all the way to the street for valet. And these aren't patients. These are people like me driving. They I guess they were going to see patients that were in the hospital or whatever. And when I say they waiting to just park their cars and stuff, and I'm like, well, I got an emergency. I pulled up to the front of the valet, okay? So the valet driver had just got into this car and was about to park it. I pulled in front of him and jumped out the car. I ran inside, screaming and carrying on. I said, I need help. I need a wheelchair. I need somebody to help me out of this car. I go up to the window. And let me just say this, and no shade to white people, but this hospital was full of white folks, white women and girls, walking around looking important, but not doing their job. And for all of the black people that think that white is right and think that white people are the most professional, this, that, and the third, some of y'all are sadly mistaken. Because some of them just sit around doing nothing, just looking around. And so I'm trying to talk to her through the window and trying to explain to her that I need help. And she's shuffling papers. She never even made eye contact. She's shuffling papers and moving shit around. I damn near knocked on the window. I said, I need help. I said, my mother is in the car. And I said, she's not as alert as normal. I said, she had a fall. She has a hickey on her head. She just left dialysis. I need help. She says, okay, I'll have somebody come out with a wheelchair. So I ran outside to check on my mother. And when I get outside, the valet guy is ready to tussle. He ready to fuss and cuss, and I'm just as equally ready to fuss and cuss. When I tell you I cussed and carried on so badly in that parking lot, in that driveway, Carlton said, you are probably going to be on TikTok later today. I said, I don't give a fuck. When I say I cussed and carried on so bad, that man was like, sir, you cannot park your car here. I said, I don't give a damn about that. I said, my mother needs help. And I said, I'm not moving this car. Because the parking lot was like across the street. And I was like, I'm not going across the street. I said, she has to get out right here at this door. I'm waiting for a wheelchair and I'm not moving. Hold on, let me make sure I don't hit this window. I mean, this wall. And I was like, I'm not getting out. And I said, I'm not moving. So then I run back inside after I checked my mother. I ran back inside and there's a nurse coming out. She said, well, let me just check your mother's vitals. She said, because we don't have any wheelchairs. How the fuck you, the hospital, ain't got no wheelchairs? Let's talk about that. So then she comes out. She said, let me just check her vitals and stuff. So she come out, she checked it. She said, okay, she's fine. But let's go and get a wheelchair. So we go back inside. She kindly, this a white nurse. She kindly tapped this little white lady on her shoulder. Was like, ma'am, I'm gonna need your wheelchair. Because this little white lady was sitting in the waiting area. She was sitting in the waiting area, but she was in a wheelchair. You know, the waiting area got chairs, but she wasn't sitting in one of those chairs. She was in a wheelchair. When I tell you that white lady said, ma'am, I'm gonna need your wheelchair because we don't have any wheelchairs. She kindly got her ass up. And then we went on outside. We got my mother into the wheelchair. By the time I went back outside again, the valet, it said, sir, I'm going to call the police. I said, get the fuck out of my face. I said, don't you come over here near me again or I'm going to fuck you up. Like, it was terrible. It was terrible the way that I carried on. I'm not proud of how I I'm not proud of how I show my ass. But I'm just saying, I don't understand where they think you're supposed to drop people off when it's an emergency. I don't understand. Like, do you really think I'm supposed to park across the street and then walk her over? Like, how are you supposed to do that? I don't understand. Like, the whole vicinity was for valet. Like, it was crazy. So anyway, the next day when I had to go there to take her that heated blanket, they had the parking lot roped off differently. I don't know if it was because of me from the day before, but the parking lot was roped off differently. It was a mess. When I say it was a mess. So anyway, I go park the car. I had to go cross the street. I was parked way up on the, you know, you go all the way up in them circles and shit. And it seemed like it was this little old white lady in front of me driving slow, trying to get up the parking deck. I didn't went around her because the nurse that put her in the wheelchair was like, okay, well, listen, you go move your car now and I'll wait for you to come back so we can get her registered. So I was trying to hurry up and park because I knew that they weren't going to service her until I gave them all of her information, like her insurance and shit, right? So I'm trying to hurry up and park. I done ran back across the street and I get to the front desk and I'm like, ma'am, I'm trying to find my mother. She was like, do you need it? I was like, don't even worry about it. I'll find it myself. They trying to give me a visitor's pass. Girl, damn that visitor's pass. I will be back. So I ran to the same white girl that was at the front window that was not paying me any attention. And so I was like, hi. I said, I need to register my mom. She said, okay. And so she came around. She came from behind. And so she was just like trying to do her blood pressure. She broke, excuse me, you know those machines that they roll out? Excuse me. It looks like an IV machine, but it's not an IV machine. It's for the blood pressure. So it was on wheels. So she brought that out. So she wrapped her arms and stuff. How about the machine didn't work? She said, oh, this one isn't working. Let me take this one in the back. Let me get another one. I said, ma'am, you're not moving quick enough for me. I said, you're not moving quick enough for me. And so then she came and she said, sir, I don't normally do this. She said, I don't usually come out and take pressure. She said, so I'm just trying to expedite things for you. So I said, okay, let me chill. She's trying to help. So she came back with this other machine. The second machine didn't work. You mean to tell me we at a hospital and y'all got two machines that don't work? So, you know, they clamp that little thing on the finger so they can test it, right? So when the second one didn't work, she went to pull the machine and it was still clamped to my mother's finger. Why my mother's arm lift up like this? Like she didn't, now that's the side that she fell on and it's also the dialysis arm. And I had already told this white girl to be careful with that side because that was the side she fell on. When I tell you her arm lifted up and I saw my mother's face kind of do like this, I said, I just told you that was her arm. Baby, when I say I went off, and I'm in the emergency room at this point, the lobby. When I tell you all of the people in there, it was a bunch of sick people in there, just on wheelchairs and stretchers and everything. They looked at me. I did. When I say I motherfucking performed in that hospital that day. So she said, sir, I need you to calm down. I said, no, I need you to act like you know what you're doing. I said, I just told you that that was her arm. I said, you pulling this machine and it's lifting her up. She said, I'm not hurting her. She said, I just took it off her arm, off her finger. I said, you didn't take a damn thing off her finger. I'm standing here looking at you. I just looked at you. And so anyway, they didn't call security. But security ain't come say nothing to me. He just came. He was standing. I don't give a damn about you standing here. So anyway, so she said, okay. So she asked me for my mother's driver's license. So I gave her the driver's license. I'm thinking she's going to register her. She still never registered her. So she said, okay, you can take her over to that triage right there. So I go over to the little room. So this little nurse comes out or whatever she was. She said, okay, so you can bring your mother in here. So I bring her in there. She said, okay, so is she registered in the system? What's her name? She said, no, I don't see her in here. She's not registered. She said, okay, I need you to go back out there. I said, you mean to tell me that y'all brought me in here only to send me back out here because she's not registered? I said, this was the worst fucking decision to come to this raggedy ass hospital. I said, I don't understand what y'all doing. I said, but this is really pathetic. I said, you all aren't moving with any sense of urgency at all. So she said, sir, I'm so sorry. She said, but she has to be registered. She said, but I'll just take you right back out here. I'll get you registered. And then I'll bring you right back in here. So she took me back out there, and the black girl, she was on top of her shit. This black girl was like, come on, sir, let me get you. So she went on and got her registered. She came on around the side. She wrapped a little band on her hand, on her wrist. And instead of them taking me back into the little triage, they took me directly. They said, so, no, we're going to take you straight to a room. So I know we didn't jump all of those people that were in the waiting area. But by the time I had cussed and carried on, I know they said, let me get this nigga. Let me get this gay nigga about this about this hospital lobby. So anyway, so we went straight to a room. So we went to a room, they got her in a bed, and they did all her tests and all that kind of stuff. And then they did her blood and all that kind of stuff. So after I performed and cut up, all was well in the world. But anyway, I am here at the restaurant. I got to get out of the car because I'm a little late now because I wanted to share that with you guys. But I truly, truly appreciate all of your emails, all of the advice that you guys have given. I have taken it all to heart. Thank you very much for your support, especially those of you that have still been supporting, even in this week that I haven't been live. I really appreciate you guys still supporting, because I know what it's like. Sometimes when you're out of sight, you're out of mind, and you just don't think about it. But I appreciate those of you that continue to support. I will talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye. I love you guys. I appreciate you. See you soon.